The Fox 29 Morning News starts now. We've got you covered.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this Friday morning on Fox 29 Morning News.
Right out of the gates, we're following breaking news on a Friday morning, a tractor-trailer fire on the Florida Turnpike.
We have Johan Hoffman joining us in Chopper 5 right now. Yo, I know this happened not even a half hour ago. This is southbound for people who are approaching the B line, but the key is we've got southbound and northbound delays this morning.
Absolutely, Holly. Definitely a sight to see here. Good news, we're pretty sure that the driver of this semi-tractor trailer has escaped before any serious injuries. But yeah, southbound Florida Turnpike shut down at the Beeline Highway overpass. And northbound, we have some onlooker delays. It starts to go real slow at 45th Street, but you do have some slowdowns around Okeechobee Boulevard. But let me just zoom in here and just show you the damage to the semi-tractor trailer truck. About a half hour ago, pilot Joshua and myself arrived on scene and watched it live unfold on News Channel 5, our partner station here. But let me zoom in here and just show you contents of this tractor trailer. I'm taking a wild guess. It looks like hay, possibly some type of hay or some type of mulch or some type of flammable, highly flammable material here. But it was fully engulfed. We had Palm Beach Gardens Fire Rescue. The reason that it took them a little bit of time is because southbound shut down and the Florida Turnpike is very, very tight. We have two lanes here. You have a dividing a wall here, the retention wall there on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, the guardrails, and just a little bit of an emergency lane to get by both on the right and left. And to navigate the big fire engines, they had to have the people in waiting in here on southbound to move over and to create a lane there to plow through. They finally reached this destination and started their frontal attack on the front part of the cab, side part of the tractor trailer, and slowly got the upper hand on this tractor trailer, semi-tractor trailer fire. But again, it was fully engulfed. I mean, it was really a close scene here as you have fuel tanks there, not ruptured or not damaged in any way, so we did not have any major explosion, but just a really big semi-tractor trailer fire. Again, now we had a light southeast wind blowing to the west, and of course we always worried about embers floating in the sky and landing into any dry parchment area. Good news here, the retention pond to the Solid Waste Authority right there. There's the Solid Waste Authority, and there's one of their retention ponds, and thank goodness there, because you can see part of the smoke here that can carry embers, and embers do start brush fires, and you can see right there, I think we're lucking out here with that retention pond. Right there's the Beeline Highway. There's southbound. There's Beeline. I'll show you right there. There's the Beeline Highway exit, the Sun Pass exit to the Florida Turnpike. They're forcing you to get off here right now, but good news here is that they did get the upper hand on this fire, and they are slowly moving the fire rescue vehicles over to the right, where they probably will have a left lane open here. I'm guessing probably within the next 20 minutes or so, maybe even a little bit less. But again, zooming in here quickly, showing you as they start to do the cleanup and investigation, and as they start to saw in. And this is another thing with this type of hay or this type of material here, that can start back, that can easily reignite due to the heat from what's going on here. But look at them as they cut through the alumina here and steel parts as Palm Beach Gardens Fire Rescue, again, doing a great job. And that definitely looks like some type of hay material here, but they're starting to cut in. Definitely want to get some water on the inside of the contents inside this tractor trailer. I'll zoom back here and just real quickly look at the cab part. I mean, this is steel. This is aluminum and steel, and the power and the ferocious heat from a fire like this magnitude is just amazing. It's just incredible the damage that a fire can do. We've seen brush fires take out acres and acres, and we've seen this quite often, how a type of semi-tractor trailer or any type of fire to a vehicle can simply just melt steel and aluminum and rubber almost to the ground here. But the cab section completely burned, and about 40% of the tractor trailer section here pretty much damaged all the way. And look right there again, showing you how dry our conditions are here in Florida, South Florida, and all the whole state. Just a small teeny little brush fire just from the heat from one of the embers causing that to ignite fast. But again, Palm Beach Gardens Fire Rescue on scene. Great job coming here, going to a frontal attack, and just totally on the offensive and really getting the upper hand on this real quickly. And again, I'll recap real quickly, showing you just how good they are. They're starting to do the inspection on the inside. Probably want to get some more water to the back part of the semi here. They have it open, and again, that looks like some hay type of material in there, and that's extremely flammable. But southbound Florida Turnpike shut down at Beeline Highway. We have southbound Florida Turnpike delays all the way back to PGA Boulevard. Northbound Florida Turnpike onlooker delays start around 45th Street, but sluggish around Okeechobee Boulevard. You can take Jog Road southbound from, say, PGA Boulevard. You can get back on Okeechobee, and if you're traveling northbound, get on Jog. Take Jog northbound to PGA Boulevard if you want to continue your trek along the Florida Turnpike. 95 doing great. You might as well take that if you're just now getting off, finishing the coffee and getting ready to get out and go head out to your destination. So real quickly, southbound Florida Turnpike still shut down due to this semi-tractor trailer fire here. Palm Beach Gardens Fire Rescue getting the upper hand. Looks to be about 90% contained and out, and should have one of these left lanes opening up probably within the next half hour. That's how it looks up here in Chopper 5. I'm Johan Hoffman for Fox 29 News. Back to you.
And I want to just reiterate, as you're looking at traffic on the right-hand side, that's the northbound traffic. It looks like it's moving along
slowly.
However, yeah, it's about 25 miles an hour, so that is a little misleading. And we just want to let people know, as he mentioned, the delays are all the way to 45th Street. So you're really probably going to need to tack on an extra 20 minutes if you're heading northbound this morning. Southbound, I mean, the best advice is just don't do it.
No.
But if you do venture out, you really need to get off at Indiantown Road. Otherwise, I mean, you look at that, you're going to be trapped.
Well, Indiantown Road, it's easy to jump on the I-95 right there, so that's the best advice this morning. Yeah, you've got a lot of brake type on going north.
The truck looks horrible, but it looks like firefighters worked very fast.
Sure did.
They got a good handle on it before it spread to any of the outlying areas and some of the dry area right in that vicinity. And good thing there's a couple of retention ponds there as well, which would prevent it from spreading, help out firefighters. But looks like they have it under control there.
And they
for
worked
the most
as fast
part.
as they could, because think about it, that's a 2-lane area, and as Johan mentioned, they had about a 15-minute delay in just getting through,
to get
because
there,
you know, people were doing their best. We watched it on TV, but you just can't move over fast enough. So it's taken some time.
Quick response. Want to let you also know Stephanie Susskind, our reporter on the ground, is heading to the scene as soon as she gets there. Should be very shortly, knowing where she was prior to this. She'll set up, and we will have live reports for you from the ground to find out more about what maybe started this fire and the quick response time we did get from Gardens Fire and PD on this one. But once again, keep in mind Turnpike in central Palm Beach County. It's either you don't go or it's very slow if you're heading northbound. In the meantime, if you stepped outside this morning to walk the dog or go for that morning run, you felt the instant frizz in the hair because it's humid again.
It's another hot and sweaty day out there.
Oh, you got that right, guys. Hot and sweaty is the word for that. Also, once again, some of us dealing with some fog. You see it here, down to about 2 miles of visibility in the Vero Beach area. Okeechobee also dealing with fog, down to about 3 miles of visibility there. Across the rest of the area, really not seeing that as a problem. All of us, though, are waking up to very muggy, humid conditions. It's going to be another hot and humid day today. A little cooler inland, lower 70s around Belle Glade and Okeechobee, but upper 70s for most of us along the coast. Your morning run forecast shows that it is staying very warm, and in fact, we'll be in the lower 80s by 9 a.m. In the next 30 minutes, I've got your full Friday forecast, a look ahead to the weekend, and when rain chances increase next week. Guys.
Thank you, Felicia. We want to get back to the breaking news on the Florida Turnpike in the southbound lanes.
All right, let's go back and take a look at what it looked like about a half hour ago or so. At the height of it, it was still relatively dark out there. The truck caught fire. Firefighters on the scene very fast, trying to get a handle on it, which eventually, as we saw, they did. But look how fast that fire consumed that semi right there, shutting down traffic.
And we've gotten a peek at what was inside that truck. Hay. For weeks we've been talking about the drought, how dry it is, and that's only adding, you think about it, more fuel to the fire this morning. And so this really happened at peak time when hundreds, really we should say thousands of folks were making their way from the Treasure Coast into Palm Beach County. A lot of those folks are stuck right now heading south. Johan did indicate from Chopper 5 from his vantage point that maybe one lane will open in the next half hour or so, but the backups are building. The northbound backups are building as well. It's just pretty tough out there this morning.
Except if you look at those southbound lanes, you do see a vehicle heading northbound in those southbound lanes right now. So they may be doing some more work around that semi that looks like a fire vehicle actually heading there.
Yeah.
So perhaps it could be opening within a half an hour. A lot can happen in a half an hour with fire rescue as quickly as they work and get the job done. What's interesting, you see this happen. The fire is mostly to the cab and the front. So it'll be interesting to hear what the driver said. He may know what sparked it or what he thinks may have. You know, once they talk to him, you never know. We do want to let you know that we did hear in the scanners in the newsroom the driver of that vehicle did get out of that tractor trailer and he is okay.
In fact, Chopper 5 caught
a
glimpse of the driver talking to one of the state troopers there. Real quickly, the producer is asking us that we go up to Johan. Johan, I know that you're watching all of this just like we are, but you have a great view. Are you seeing any progress here in terms of the delays?
Northbound, yeah, we're getting a little bit of progress northbound. They're still sluggish at 45th Street. Hold on, I'll just, you know what, why don't I show you? Here's northbound looking there. You have the Solid Waste Authority, and thank goodness they have a retention pond here that probably prevented any embers from floating into the distance westbound to any of the communities. But that's 45th Street here. That's northbound we're looking at. We're looking at northbound delays, and it's solid at 45th Street and all the way back almost maybe to Okeechobee Boulevard. Right there is where it starts to get a little bit restless, a little bit sluggish here. But if you're traveling northbound, again, and you get on Okeechobee Boulevard, your best bet would be take Jog Road, avoid this area, and get on the Florida Turnpike at PGA Boulevard. And if you're on southbound flow, if you get on PGA Boulevard, take southbound Florida Turnpike, take Jog Road, get on at Okeechobee Boulevard to take the Florida Turnpike southbound to get to your destination. Now, we were looking earlier and we didn't have any confirmation and no information about the driver of the semi-tractor trailer truck here. We did watch FHP talk to a person here that was on the side of the truck here. As you can see, they're starting to take a little bit of information. My money is that's the driver right there of the semi-tractor trailer truck. Good news is he doesn't look hurt in any way, probably shaken up, having your truck burned to the ground. That's going to shake you up early. But again, FHP talking to this individual, taking down some information. Chances are that is the driver to the semi-tractor trailer. We did take a quick scan on the inside of the cab just to make sure, and we did not see anybody or any remains of a possible person involved in there. And real quickly, we'll just double check and show you right there. Trust me, it's empty, no one's in there. Just look at the devastation, just the melted steel and aluminum and rubber to this tractor trailer. That's the cab part, and I'll zoom in super tight here. And again, no one gets closer than we do up here in Chopper 5. Don't worry about it. You got the best shots in the house right here every day with Fox 29 and our partner stations, News Channel 5. But look at just the complete destruction from what the fire did, melting this whole cab section and part of the trailer. As we have right here, you have Palm Beach Gardens Fire Rescue starting to do some cuts to relieve some of the smoke, to allow the smoke to get out. And it appears right there that the load, it looks like hay. That looks like hay to you and me, and that's highly flammable. So, you know, the heat from these fires can always reignite a fire, and you know, they're keeping a good eye on it. But I'll tell you, when we first got here, this was fully engulfed. We had black smoke that we could see all the way from I-95. And if you're just joining us right now, let me give you a quick recap of what's going on. This is southbound Florida Turnpike, just after the Beeline Highway. We had a fully engulfed semi-tractor trailer here shutting down southbound Florida Turnpike at the Beeline Highway overpass. Florida Turnpike northbound, you have delays starting at 45th Street, sluggish at Okeechobee. Palm Beach Gardens Fire Rescue arriving on scene and going to town and really putting a stop to this fire. It is probably, I'll call it 90% fully contained here as they just keep the hot spots cool down. And you can see over here that just our dry conditions, that even a little ember from any type of fire started just a small minor, and it's not a brush fire, but that's what it's called here. That's what it's categorized. But there, just a little bit of the side here caught fire, and you had just that little teeny brush fire here, which Palm Beach Gardens Fire Rescue put out pretty quickly once they got here. The problem is they had to navigate through southbound being shut down and total gridlock. You had gridlock along the Florida Turnpike. Taking a Florida Turnpike now is just a nightmare. Don't get on it. But in order for Palm Beach Gardens Fire Rescue to arrive on scene, they had to navigate through this. and you can see you have a retention wall on this side and a guardrail on this side, and not real room here for the cars and vehicles to move over and allow a lane of travel for the fire rescue to get to. So it did take Palm Beach Gardens a little bit of time to get to the semi-tractor trailer fire. Good news though, the driver of this tractor trailer looks like he got out real quickly and does not seem to have any serious injuries. Again, you can see the smoke coming out of the southeast, the wind pushing the smoke towards the west, and you can see just how far embers from a fire can spread. I mean, even a little ember right here could get this little section of this forest of these trees and the ground there. You can see that the ground is definitely dry in that brown section. That's really flammable. If a little ember got to that, that could possibly start a brush fire. But we're lucking out here with this retention pond, this South Florida Solid Waste Authority there, right there. There's the what we call the old dump off 45th Street right there. And there's the huge retention pond that probably helped us from maybe starting a little small brush fire. There's Beeline Highway. You can see Beeline Highway moving fine coming in from Indiantown. But again, if you travel southbound along the Florida Turnpike, heavy delays just after the Beeline Highway overpass, delays all the way from PGA Boulevard to this area of the Beeline Highway Sun Pass, and northbound delays all the way from Okeechobee to the Beeline Highway overpass. Hopefully they do have the upper hand here, and we're looking like they're starting to do the cleanup and the mop-up stages of what they call. Hopefully we'll have this one left lane here open up soon. They did move over one of the fire rescue vehicles over to the right side here. Hopefully, and I do say hopefully, within the next 20 minutes or so, we might get a left lane open to alleviate the heavy delays along southbound Florida Turnpike. That's how it looks up here in Chopper 5. I'm Johan Hoffman for Fox 29 News. Back to you.
And I'm Chris Stewart, live in the newsroom. We are just starting to see some videos from viewers on the ground who have passed by this burning tractor trailer truck. Dwayne Williams, a viewer with our partner station WPTV, sending us that on Facebook. And you can see as he passed through there, just the smoke and still at that point the flames that were going with that tractor trailer. We have also reached out to Palm Beach Gardens Fire Rescue. We are waiting to hear back from them on any word on any cause of this, because that is still a mystery at this point. As you take another look, there is that video. Back to you, Roxanne.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. Yes, that video, when seeing those flames, you just know. We're so thankful the driver got out okay, and to find out exactly what sparked that massive fire.
Right. There's what it looked like about 45 minutes ago when everything started, as firefighters work quickly to contain it. You see the before right now and then the after. They're still on the scene. It's still a lot of heavy traffic in that area, backed up southbound, slow go northbound on the turnpike. But they did work very fast to get this thing at least contained to that area and didn't spread into the grass there. And
and now the concern, they've got to monitor hot spots, because as you guys know, it's not going to take much for anything like this to flare up. Real quickly, let's bring Felicia into the mix here. Hey, Felicia, I know if there is a silver lining in all of this, we talked about this a little bit earlier behind the scenes, but at least this happened in the morning and not in the afternoon when, say, the winds probably kicked up a little bit.
Oh, you got that right, Holony, because the winds are going to pick up later this afternoon, and it is going to be hot and humid. The sun is going to be blazing, and of course that makes it more difficult on the first responders as well. So if it had to happen, luckily it was this morning. Obviously we never like to see that happen, but as we said, this morning definitely better than this afternoon. We've got some thick fog around Vero Beach up into Sebastian, back into Okeechobee County. Have mainly just a quiet morning out there, bright sunshine. That is going to continue throughout the day. We do have a few passing clouds out over the Boca Inlet. You see that here. The sun's starting to come up there as we head through the day. Plenty of sunshine. The current temperatures in the upper 70s along the coast, the lower 70s inland. Friday and for your weekend, breezy today, windy all weekend. If you're planning on doing some boating this weekend, it is going to be very windy, choppy on the waters. Upper 80s today and tomorrow, and mid 80s on Sunday. We'll talk more about your full forecast a little later in the show.
On the right hand side of your screen there, you are seeing that semi on fire. Actually, I think we just took it down, but we're hearing a lot from viewers, drivers who, of course, that are stuck in that mess. One of those drivers being our very own Stephanie Susskind. She is on her way to this area. Let's bring up a tweet, and you can see, I really just wanted you to see the picture there. I mean, when we say bumper to bumper, it's bumper to bumper. And keep in mind, she's heading north. She's not even stuck in the southbound commotion, but northbound traffic. It is growing, as Johan mentioned, really getting restless right around Okeechobee Boulevard. And so the turnpike is not your friend this morning. Any way you cut it, north and southbound lanes are still shut down.
Yeah,
It's
good
gonna be a
advice.
mess there for a while, definitely.
Stay off the turnpike.
I think we have some live pictures now to show of traffic right now. This is live shots from Stephanie on the ground of the traffic that, as you can see, is just inching northbound. So southbound lanes are closed on the turnpike right now. Again, this is around the B line. Northbound traffic backed up where this tractor trailer caught on fire, and it's backed up all the way south to Okeechobee Boulevard, as you can see, just crawling. So you really don't want to take the turnpike this morning. The interstate's your best bet, or if it's a short distance, jump on Military.
And Johan mentioned that they'll probably open one lane here in the next, let's say, half hour or so. That's not a sure bet, but they're working very fast to keep everything contained, so they might be able to do that shortly. However, your best bet is just stay off the turnpike this morning until further notice.
Hey, Johan, let's go back up to you. I was actually just looking at when this call went out from my notes earlier. It actually went out at 6:24, so we really are going on about an hour now.
Oh yeah, Holly, definitely about an hour here into this fire here along the Florida Turnpike, southbound Florida Turnpike. I'm hoping that they open up a lane here. I hope I didn't jinx it here within the next half hour or so, but now that I keep looking at this, and our pilot Joshua, as always, can't do it without Joshua up here with me, said that, you know what, they're going to have to do a real cleanup here on this, and they might be able to do it here on the full right side here. They might be able to take it away. It's not overturned, which usually takes both lanes to be able to get the wreckers in. But we're crossing our fingers that hopefully within the next half hour or so, they might open up one of the left lanes here. But zooming in real quickly, you can see just still going. That smoke is not slowing down as they keep the water going on to this fire here, the semi-tractor trailer fire here. And again, if you're just joining us here, about an hour ago, fully engulfed tractor trailer fire here southbound along the Florida Turnpike. This is just after the Beeline Highway Sun Pass exit on-ramp here, and I'll tell you, it was fully engulfed. We could see the smoke all the way from 45th Street as we started to come up over from the east to the west from 95, and it looks like the contents are definitely some type of hay there, and that's extremely highly flammable as they start to douse the part of the tractor trailer with the hay here, and the sun coming up here, so you're definitely going to have some glares traveling eastbound. Don't forget those sunglasses. But again, southbound Florida Turnpike shut down at the Sun Pass overpass here, both north and southbound sluggish through the West Palm Beach, Okeechobee Boulevard to PGA Boulevard into the Gardens here again. But again, I'll zoom in here and just show you the complete devastation of the cab and part of that tractor trailer, part of the trailer part here. But just look at how that's just melted and burnt down. This power of the flames are just incredible, and you can see our firefighters here. I have to give them a pat on the back for risking their lives going right into it, because these have hundreds of gallons of flammable liquid here, and look at this firefighter cutting out pieces of the aluminum siding of this trailer so they can actually get in. And there you go, look at that right there. It's a little bit of fire. This could reignite from the heat of the fire, of the earlier fires, and possibly some embers from the fire inside the tractor trailer. There you go, you have a little flame starting to re-spark back up as they start to tear open the skin part of the trailer here. I'm sure they're going to douse that with some water and get an upper hand on it. We still have that white smoke, which is always a good sign whenever you're dealing with types of fires. But here, right there, he's probably going to tell the guys, yep, knock it out with some fire. Oh, look, a little bit more flames here. But the power of the jets of these hoses are incredible as they get to one part. And definitely quickly extinguish that little bit of reigniting fire here in the tractor trailer. Just showing you how hard it is to put out fires, whether it's a brush fire, house fire, or even a vehicle fire here, as we're seeing this big vehicle here. The wind going towards the west, out the southeast, the quick danger of embers being transformed and carried over to any type of dry vegetation or any homes right there. We do have some homes right over there off of the Beeline here, but good news, we have a retention pond right next to here. The only real spot that maybe the embers could, and I do say could, start a little brush fire is in that area just a little bit west of the turnpike. So far, fingers crossed, nothing happening here. But I'll tell you, I'll show you one spot right here quickly as I zoom in. There is a little teeny spot right there. This shows you how dry and how quickly even a small spark from one of these fires can start a little bit of a brush fire. It's not major brush fire, but you can see how dry conditions are, and as they start to clean up and start to continue to monitor the hot spots inside of this tractor trailer. And we obviously saw one of those hot spots start to reignite inside of the trailer. But I'm going to take you back here really quickly and show you how southbound Florida Turnpike is moving. Up at the top, that's northbound, and of course you have onlooker delays at something like this. Even I have to say it was quite a sight to see the intensity of the flames and the heat coming off of this semi-tractor trailer. But again, right there's the Beeline Highway, some pass exit ramp. That's where you go get off southbound Florida Turnpike. You have delays all the way back to PGA Boulevard. That's how it looks up here in Chopper 5. I'm Johan Hoffen for Fox 29 News. Back to you.
And I'm Chris Stewart live in the newsroom. As we continue to follow that breaking news, we're working to learn how all of this started. We do have calls here from our newsroom into FHP as well as Palm Beach Gardens Fire Rescue. You just take a look at this video here from viewer Dwayne Williams, who sent it in to us. And just look at that smoke, the flames there as he passed through that area. We'll keep you posted with any new information we have. Back to you.
Again, the big headline this morning is that the Turnpike is shut down for those of you traveling south as you approach the Beeline. But no one in that area really is escaping this morning because we're seeing some northbound delays as well because of that semi on fire.
Well, there's the shot. And now what has happened is the smoldering hay, as dry as it is, smoldering, it seems to have reignited a little further back in the trailer.
Every time you open that trailer, as they cut it away, air gets in there, mixes in with the little flames, and it becomes a bigger flame. But it looks like they're dousing it pretty good right now.
They're working hard. We'll keep you updated when we come right back on the other side of this break on Fox 29. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us this Friday morning on Fox 29 Morning News, a very busy Friday.
Over one breaking news item that we've been following very closely on this Friday morning, a tractor trailer on fire on the Florida Turnpike in the southbound lanes.
Oh, and it is a mess out there this morning. You think this is kind of the peak time of the morning commute. You've got folks heading in from the Treasure Coast. You have people also heading up north. So we want to get straight to this. Johan Hoffen is in Chopper 5. He watched this break around 6:25 this morning, now going on 7:30. And this is still, Johan, very much an issue.
Oh yeah, Holly, we still get some reigniting of the fire here in this tractor trailer. Now, the driver's okay, getting reports from FHP that it was a blown tire, and a blown tire next to some hot brakes can definitely ignite a fire here. And the contents of the trailer, as we thought, and it looks like it's hay. So they're having a little bit of a time keeping this fire to get it fully extinguished, but they definitely have the upper hand keeping the fire under control. But we have seen some flare-ups inside this trailer. They've started to cut the side of the skin off the trailer part, the aluminum parts, so they can get some easy access with the water to the back part of this trailer. But my goodness, just look at the damage, the complete melting of the cab there, and the contents of the trailer there, just still smoldering on the inside. And again, reigniting here. We do have Florida Highway Patrol over here. They were earlier talking to a person, which was the driver of the semi-tractor trailer. There he is right there. Good shape, good condition. Thank goodness for that, because he just lost his whole semi, and that's a family business probably, or he's working, that's his business, that's his bread and butter here. So he's definitely going to be upset about this here. But I'll tell you right now, Palm Beach Gardens Fire Rescue coming to town here and getting the upper hand here as they start to go and take out all of this hay, going through these embers that are obviously on the inside here, unloading the hay here so they can start to get more water into the back part. Right here you'll see them live just cutting the skin off the aluminum part of this tractor trailer here with the saw here. And I'm telling you, this is contents of hay and fire, extremely flammable. That's all there is to it. You do have the wrecker vehicle right here on scene, ready to start to assist when they're ready to allow him to start to get ready to tow this vehicle away. I was thinking maybe a half hour they might open the left lane. That doesn't look like that's going to be possible, as this fire is really stubborn. As you can see on our side screen here, split from Bob Leake, our ground rider of this shot. Great shot by Bob there on the ground. But just look at him fully attacking the inside contents of this tractor trailer, which is hay, and again, extremely flammable. I mean, if you could have a contents inside of a burning vehicle, I don't think you want it to be hay for your for your battling of fire for these fire rescues. But they're just going to town, have the skin tore off so they can get easy access into this trailer fire. And again, if you're just joining us, recapping, southbound Florida Turnpike shut down just after the Beeline Highway Sun Pass on and off ramp. Southbound Florida Turnpike, we have delays all the way back to PGA Boulevard. If you're traveling northbound, we have onlooker delays all the way back to Okeechobee Boulevard. Your alternate for this situation would be southbound, get on Jog Road, take it to Okeechobee, get on the Florida Turnpike, and continue southbound. Northbound, get on Jog Road, take it to PGA Boulevard to continue northbound along the Florida Turnpike. And again, I'll zoom in here real quickly as you have coverage that no other station will give you from the ground and the air, giving you these shots that you're not going to get nowhere else but with Fox 29 and our partner station, News Channel 5, as you can see that they start to take the contents out, which is hay, and start to continue to attack this stubborn fire with this tractor trailer. That's how it looks up here in Chopper 5. I'm Johan Hoffen for Fox 29 News. Back to you.
Hey, Johan, don't go too far. Obviously, the one big factor working for firefighters this morning is that the wind is not there. It has not kicked up yet. That will happen later this afternoon. Now, the one thing working against them, though, is it is so dry out there. We've been talking about it for weeks. In fact, we're also talking about water shortages, so that does come into play. Johan, I know we're going to make our viewers a little motion sick this morning, but you have that long-range camera. Do me a favor, take a long-range shot of at least the southbound delays. Let's start there because I really want our viewers at home to get a feel of just how nasty it is out there. We've been telling folks, obviously, to stay off I-95, and you would agree, or stay off the Turnpike and get onto I-95. I know you would agree with that.
Holly, yeah, the delays southbound right there. That is 45th Street right there around this area. That's up by the Beeline and 45th Street. Let me see here, zooming back here. And I think you were asking about how far these delays go back. And I'm telling you, that was the Beeline Highway. And right there, that's PGA Boulevard right there. So that's PGA Boulevard. That's the delays there. Hold back. And as Holly was saying, we're going to make you a little motion sick here. But strong, powerful sunrise, as always, at this hour. Don't forget those sunglasses. But let me show you. There's the Beeline Highway. And right there is I-95. So you can see I-95 busy as always at this hour, and that's the usual. But look, it's up to speed. We have no heavy delays, no serious crashes along 95 for the Treasure Coast, and especially in the West Palm Beach Gardens area. So if you take the Turnpike, you might want to take that little extra drive to the east and get on 95 here real quickly. Hold on, hang with me. I'll zoom back in here. There's the Solid Waste Authority, and there's that retention pond, probably saving us from a possible brush fire from the embers that can travel from this big semi-tractor trailer. But there's the northbound delays right there, and Okeechobee's up there in the distance. So you can see that's northbound right there. There's Dreher Park there, the flight area where you can have some fun with your drones and your toy airplanes here, but RC airplanes. But there's northbound travel delays, and onlooker delays, that's what you get. It's a chain effect. I mean, it slows down right here, and it's just going to continue down northbound. But Okeechobee slow from Okeechobee to the Beeline Highway overpass, and southbound heavy delays shut down southbound Florida Turnpike at the Beeline Highway Sun Pass, and delays are at PGA Boulevard. Again, they are still trying to keep this under control as they still have some hot spots here as the inside contents of a burning semi-tractor trailer truck. I'll zoom in here. Look, there it is. Now this is why they're opening up the side part of this trailer. They're taking off the skin of the trailer, and you can see right in there, there's just burning embers. I mean, that's just hot spots. That's just a recipe for a fire to reignite. And as we move out of this zone here, I'll zoom back out and show you real quickly here. There they are, and they do have these lanes here blocked both on the right and left lanes here. So I don't think they're going to open it up within the last half hour, as I was saying. You can blame me for jinxing it, but there we do have the emergency wrecker crew here standing by, ready to jump into action to start to tow it away. But this is going to be here for a little bit of time, so definitely want to seek an alternate route in this situation here, southbound Florida Turnpike.
Real quickly, visually, if that backup there doesn't do the trick for you, let's bring up some drive times. Now, keep in mind, these are based on if those lanes open now. Right now, excuse me, we are at a standstill, and so you're only going to see these grow and grow over the course of the morning. We've really never seen anything like this, or at least it's been quite some time. I mean, you're talking more than an hour just to go from Indiantown Road to Glades, and 33 miles per hour. That's kind of the estimate given. In the last 10 minutes, though, John and Roxanne, again, we have learned that you think about it, it was just a tire that blew out on that semi.
But that could create some sparks. If there's some metal part of the tire.
We've seen that happen,
yeah,
too.
exactly. And everything's so dry, it will catch fire. And when you're hauling dry hay, that's like Johan pointed out, that is the perfect recipe for flames.
It's been a real mess there this morning. So, as you've seen all morning long, we have Johan up in the air giving you the only aerial pictures and the only aerial updates and up close and personal from Chopper 5.
And you've also been seeing what this semi truck looks like right now, on fire from the ground.
Let's get to Fox 29, Stephanie Susskind. Stephanie, I know it took you some time to get out there, but you are there now. A lot of patience there this morning.
Yeah, we're getting our first close-up view of what this semi-truck looks like, and you can see the firefighters still working very hard, putting water on this truck. You can see the water actually going right through the truck as they continue to hose it down out here. Smoke still billowing out of the truck, and we even saw a few flames just moments ago. And as you mentioned, FHP telling us that a tire blew on the truck, and that's what sparked this whole thing. And you can also see all of that hay that just pouring out of the truck. FHP telling us some of that caught on fire as well, certainly making this a difficult scene as they try to get this all under control. So firefighters still very actively involved in making sure everything is extinguished out here. There are at least 6 or 7 fire trucks out here, as well as Florida Highway Patrol. And so the southbound lanes completely shut down. The northbound traffic is moving slow. We took the northbound lanes to get here, and as you pass Okeechobee, that's when things start to back up. But we do also see a tow truck on the side of the road. It's on the side of the northbound lanes right now, so presumably they're waiting to make sure that everything is out before they start to work on trying to even begin to tow this out of the way. But again, still a very massive scene. The good news in all of this, no one injured according to Florida Highway Patrol, but still quite a cleanup effort as the smoke still continues to billow out of this truck and firefighters continue to work this scene. Of course, we'll be out here all morning long keeping you covered on this. John and Roxanne, back to you.
Well, that will really test your patience on a Friday morning right out of the gates, won't it?
No one injured, but a major inconvenience all the way around.
Well, it is, because you think you couldn't get the word out fast enough for people who leave their house at 6:20, 6:30.
Right.
Now we're talking about 7:40, and you've got hundreds of people stuck.
Well, and as you mentioned, it's an hour drive time just going north from Glades Road or just to get through that area. So you don't want to do that. Southbound, you were saying more than an hour, but you're stopped right now. So until that even opens, you just can't go anywhere.
Right.
All right, Felicia, weather-wise, I mean, it's hot, it's dry out there, not the best mix, but again, at least it wasn't windy.
Yeah, that's right. If this had happened this afternoon, we'd be talking about a different story. Other things that could be affecting your commute this morning, we are down to about 3 miles of visibility in Okeechobee County right now. The rest of the area not really dealing with that. We've been talking about the winds are pretty light this morning, and thank goodness you see this showing beside me. The firefighters still fighting with that tractor and trailer fire. As those winds pick up, that would have become more difficult, and the winds are going to pick up this afternoon. We're going to warm up very quickly as well. We're in the mid 80s by your lunch hour. We're topping out in the upper 80s. It's going to feel more like the mid 90s for most of us. So I know a lot of us are going to want to head out to the beach, but I want you to be careful. Dangerous conditions there. A high risk of rip currents along the Treasure Coast, a moderate risk along Palm Beach County, and for boaters, pretty nice, but a little choppy as well along the Treasure Coast. We'll talk about your weekend and the full 7-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
I'm Chris. We're live in the newsroom. FHP also telling us that a tow truck is on the way. So getting to the process of trying to get that tractor trailer out of the way on the southbound side of the turnpike. Do want to show you this video sent in by viewer Dwayne Williams. Shot from the ground there as those flames were still burning. You can just see how smoky it is on the ground. Good thing that the wind really pushing that away from the other lane of traffic there going on the northbound side, but you can see the flames there still burning. And again, what FHP telling us is that this was a tractor trailer that was driving, blew a tire out. That tire caught on fire, and when you're carrying a bunch of hay, that is not a good situation, and that led to the flames you're looking at right there. The driver, again, is okay. Back to you.
That's the nugget we're pulling from all of this. The driver is all right, and that's what we do want to know about, but they're still trying to extinguish that fire.
Yeah. Well, the flare-ups certainly aren't helping much, and it's almost like a surprise. You go back into the back of the trailer and you start pulling out that hay, and surprise, there's a hot spot there.
That's
you get
right.
that out, and then you move on. And then there's another one, but nothing compared to what we saw about 6:20 this morning when this all broke. And, you know, it took, as we've said, firefighters, they did their best, but it took them some time to get there because the turnpike heading south was already jam-packed. And it came to a stop once people were behind this truck, and they couldn't move and get over for fire rescue to get to the scene.
The flames consumed that truck very fast, and firefighters were on the scene fast as well, and they had it contained. But, I mean, by then it's too late. That thing just went up. Perfect conditions for a fire. Once you get that spark and you're carrying hay, that went up fast.
Also fast on the scene this morning was Chopper 5. Let's go to Johan now. You see those pictures from before from Chopper 5. Let's get the latest from Johan. Good morning.
And good morning, Roxanne, John, and Holony. As you can see right now, Palm Beach Gardens Fire Rescue is still battling the inside contents of this semi-tractor trailer fire. You saw just a little seconds ago how engulfed, how the flames were just amazing. When we pulled up here, Pilot Joshua and myself, we could see the smoke and the flames from I-95 as we were dispatched and on our way to report this live. As you saw it unfold live as it was happening on our partner station, News Channel 5, and right now you're getting these exclusive aerial pictures right here on Fox 29. We have Rob and Stephanie and Bob on the ground giving you extreme visions that you just get with us here on Fox 29 and News Channel 5. But let me zoom back real quickly and just show you here the contents. Hay, highly flammable, and they really still are having a trouble keeping this under control. The cab part, look at this, cab part melted, just burnt, a complete loss for the driver. The driver is okay. Reports that it was a flat tire that started this fire, probably the flat tire hitting the hot brakes, ignited from the rubber, and then quickly spreading as truck fires usually do happen in that type of a manner. But FHP on scene, you have Palm Beach Gardens Fire Rescue on scene. Good news is that northbound's starting to pick up a little bit better on the flow. Northbound delays are still back to around 45th Street and back to Okeechobee, but we do have standing by, ready to go to start the cleanup process. There's a wrecker here. Southbound Florida Turnpike, different story. Delays all the way starting from the Beeline Highway Sunpass overpass all the way to PGA Boulevard. Not too bad past PGA Boulevard. People are pretty much taking the word and getting off PGA Boulevard. Southbound alternates take Jog Road to Okeechobee Boulevard to continue along the Florida Turnpike. Your northbound alternates would be Okeechobee, take Jog Road, get on the Florida Turnpike at PGA Boulevard, and continue your destinations in your north or southbound travel, whichever one you pick. But if you're getting ready to get out and take the Turnpike, do take 95 just all together. Take that little extra trip east and take 95 to get north or southbound, because this is going to be here for quite some time. We thought it might open up a lane here a couple of minutes ago, but because of the contents, I mean, this is hay, and look right there, you can see they're just getting flare-ups on, and inside there, you know it's smoldering, it's extreme heat. I mean, look at just the damage to this. It melted steel, it melted aluminum and rubber down. So this hay content definitely has some areas where they're starting to peel off. As you can see right now, as I speak, they're starting to peel off more skin, more of the side parts of the aluminum of the tractor trailer. That's a good sign here. They might just take it all off, but look, as they peel it right off, as they actually just cut the side, the aluminum with the saw in this area here, and they start to peel it off. That gives them easier access to get to the side and the contents inside, which is hay. And as Joshua starts to maneuver the helicopter around, let you get another quick shot here as we start to show you a down perspective here, just showing you this. Starting to get more types of areas here along southbound Florida Turnpike. In this area, it's going to be southbound Florida delays. You'll have delays all the way back to PGA Boulevard, and PGA Boulevard It's not too bad east and westbound along PGA Boulevard, but again, we lucked out here with the wind coming out of the southeast, and those embers from any type of flames, they can ignite a brush fire, and luckily enough, we had a retention pond sitting very close by, so no type of brush fires have sparked up from this big semi-tractor trailer fire, which is a good news. And of course, a light wind so far for this morning, but so far the afternoon, that changes with the heating of the day. But they're still trying to knock this fire out inside of the tractor trailer. It's starting to get reignited here. It's going to be here for at least another half hour to an hour as they start to maintain the embers inside this tractor trailer truck. Southbound Florida Turnpike still shut down at the Beeline Highway overpass, delays to PGA Boulevard. That's how it looks up here in Chopper 5. I'm Johan Hoffett. Back to you.
Well, you can still see live flames,
right.
exactly.
Those close-ups from Chopper 5 really show you how hard it is to put out a fire, especially when it's something that's so flammable like hay and it's so dry.
And it's smoldering.
Yeah.
Now it's got
it just keeps coming.
It's got there's a little flame or a spark in a bale, and it's just going to continue to go back through to another bale, and that's what they're fighting here. It's not cleared up. So you've seen these pictures from Johan from Chopper 5. As you look at the live pictures right now, you're still seeing smoke. So Chopper 5's been up all morning long since this call came in.
The phrase work in progress, I mean, it could not be any truer because it really is out there this morning. Stephanie Susskind is on the ground there. Hey, Stephanie, I want to ask you, 2 weeks ago, you were on the opposite end of Palm Beach County. You were doing the tractor trailer that was hanging off of the overpass. In terms of traffic, what's the difference? How stubborn was it to get your way through here versus there? I mean, I know they're both bad situations, but kind of describe that as you were a commuter this morning.
Yeah, well, we came northbound on the turnpike to get to this area, and a couple weeks ago on I-95, I don't think the northbound traffic was quite as bad, but on the turnpike you have less lanes, everything is really tighter together, and so these onlooker delays, I think, are a little bit more significant. But just take a close look at that tractor trailer right now, and firefighters really still continuing this fight. We could hear them using saws just moments ago as they're cutting through parts of this truck. The cab is really destroyed and gone, and they continue to put water on this truck. We saw flames a few moments ago and just billowing smoke that continues to pour out of this tractor trailer. So still quite a fight for the firefighters that are out here. We can see them trading out crews and trading out gear, and there they go spraying down this side of the truck once again. They've pulled a lot of that hay out of the truck. You can see it. It's all over the road now out here on the turnpike. So this is going to be quite a cleanup effort. It's not just a matter of getting the fire out and getting all of the smoke out of here, but then to get a tow truck in, they need to clean up the road. They will probably end up cutting that tractor trailer into pieces between the cab and the trailer. That's what often happens in these situations. So I would expect this is still going to be quite a long scene, quite a long cleanup effort. Again, these northbound delays are still continuing to back up. We can see traffic going back quite a while, and southbound, as you've been mentioning, still completely shut down out here. So certainly pack your patience and take alternate routes. The turnpike, not a good place to be right now. Back to you.
What good advice there. Pack your patience. What a way to start out Friday. Glad no one was hurt in that, though. Let's talk about what's going on. Beautiful start to the morning looking out over the Sebastian Inlet. Had a little bit of patchy fog, but we're beginning to warm up, so we're starting to see that clear out. You can see the sun shining bright, though. Don't forget those sunglasses. Once again, you're going to need them all day today. Temperatures along the coast already very warm. In the upper 70s inland, we're in the lower 70s right now, 78 degrees in West Palm Beach. We warm up very quickly. We'll be in the mid 80s by your lunch hour. We're topping out in the upper 80s. Another hot and humid day ahead. In fact, afternoon heat index values in the low to upper 90s. So it is going to be feeling very hot out there once again. Your 7-day forecast shows upper 80s for Saturday, mid 80s for Sunday. It's going to be very, very windy this weekend, becoming breezy this afternoon. Rain chances go up as we head into Monday and Tuesday of next week.
Well, here live in the newsroom, and as you see that backup right there on the other side of your screen, and just how long it is for people who have just been in standstill traffic since all of this started a short time ago. We do know a tow truck is on the way. That's what FHP is telling us, but it's not clear exactly when it's going to be there. We have started to see some viewer images come into us. This is the main one that we have received, and you just see the flames there as a driver, Dwayne Williams, passed through that area. Just how smoky it is there, as well as that smoke was coming from the truck a short time ago. Obviously, the situation has improved. Again, FHP saying that it all started with a tire on that truck blowing out, catching fire, and then a load of hay. That's where the flames spread after that. So the situation continuing to unfold, but we do know a tow truck on its way to the scene. Back to you.
Well, we saw the tow truck that is on one side, but as Chris is mentioning, it could take more than that since they're going to have to separate some of this also. You know, at one point it looked like this was going to open a little earlier, and because they've had to yank hay out, they're going to need some kind of a land mover now to get that off and clean that up, get that truck separated.
And they're still tackling the fire.
And they're still trying to put the fire out. So if you think, well, and I know I've got several friends that are in Port St. Lucie and usually hop on the turnpike to get to West Palm Beach, you think maybe if you leave a little later it's going to open. I'd say now all bets are off on when this is going to, the timing on all of this, because as you can see, it's still smoldering.
Yeah, well, keep in mind the traffic that you just saw, that's actually northbound traffic, which is moving at about 25 miles per hour. So it goes to show you how sluggish it is. Again, just want to emphasize these alternates. If you are heading south, you want to get off at Jog, and then you can hop back onto the turnpike at Okeechobee Boulevard. If you're going in the opposite direction, northbound, get off at Okie, hit Jog, and then you can hop back on at PGA. Can we do me a real quick favor, if our director bring up those drive times? Let's see maybe how those have grown. Yeah, so you see some difference here. I mean, Indiantown Road heading north, you've got the delays there. You've got the southbound delays there at the bottom from Indiantown to Glades. I mean, we see things all the time, especially on I-95, but this in particular, I mean, it's kind of unheard of. I mean, we really don't see drive times like this all too often.
No. All right. Well, it's been an hour and a half now, and traffic continues to build. This started around 6:20 this morning.
When the call came in.
Exactly. And so, you know, not much traffic going on at that time of day, but as traffic continues to build up, as folks start hitting the turnpike every morning, and it builds up like that, then it really starts getting backed up. So it's closed in the southbound direction, a slow go in the northbound direction. And your best bet is stay off the turnpike this morning until further notice.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the traffic as you might see it moving, but that's just at that site where it can finally break up and clear it, but it is backed up.
Well, even northbound, Stephanie Susskind, our reporter, it took a long time for her to break away from the other story she was covering to get to that, because it was traffic was going so slow. So again, stay off the turnpike.
Yeah, one positive, and a firefighter will tell you this, we watched this earlier on when this was first erupting. It was heavy, thick black smoke, and we're starting to see that smoke kind of lighten up and turn a whitish color, which means it's mixing in more so with moisture. And so that's always very, very helpful. And we wouldn't have seen this. Obviously, hay is very flammable, but say we were talking some type of chemical, it would have been much worse.
No, that's actually, when you see that white stuff, they are knocking it down. We'll be right back at 8 o'clock with more on this and keep you up to date on all your drive times this morning, your only local traffic from 7 to 9. We'll be right back.